Hello everyone, welcome back to Super Recaps. Today we're going to talk about a Korean film. I'm a cyborg, but that's okay. Watch out for spoilers ahead and make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates. The plot revolves around a young woman who believes she is a cyborg and claims she needs to eat batteries to stay alive. She goes through a series of terrifying events that will make you want to turn away from the screen. However, she appears to have a happy ending after all of this. So, how do you think this woman will end up? Is she a cyborg or just someone who is having mental health issues? Let's see what we can find out together. The majority of the film takes place in a mental institution, where a diverse group of patients all play a role in the story of young Goon. The story revolves around a young Goon who loses touch with reality while working in a radio manufacturing factory. Young Goon is convinced that she is a cyborg with every fiber of her being. She starts cutting her wrists and plugging them into wall outlets with a power cord to recharge her batteries. Despite the fact that the young Goon believes there is nothing wrong with her activities, doctors and officials see it as a suicide attempt. Young Goon has jet black hair and blonde brows, and occasionally wears her grandmother's denture, and she truly believes she is a cyborg. She spends her time talking to fluorescent lights and vending machines. A shot then cuts to the factory, where young Goon is still in her chair, which is reclining on the floor, and it is evident from her right foot that the jolt has recharged her inner battery, or so she believes, as her toes light up to show how charged she is. Young Goon is still plainly struggling with her delusions, including refusing to eat and instead of licking batteries in the hopes of recharging herself, and she is immediately put in a mental institution due to the severity of her weird and harmful delusions. Even since he was a child, young Goon has been enthralled by machinery, because they serve a defined purpose, yet she also lacks direction in life, due to parental neglect. Young Goon's mother is too obsessed with her restaurant to notice her daughter, which hasn't helped her mental health a lot. Young Goon's mother claimed ignorance of her daughter's delusions after learning that she was practically going insane. However, it was eventually discovered that she was aware of the situation all along but was too preoccupied to help her daughter seek aid. Finally, her mother confesses, and a conversation with a psychiatric hospital doctor brings us up to speed on her story. The doctor is clearly trying to figure out what's causing young Goon's psychosis, but the mother's interview suggests that it could be a major problem that runs in their family. She says that young Goon's mentally ill grandma was previously institutionalized due to beliefs that she was a mouse, a traumatic event that causes young Goon's own lapses in reality and helps to explain how her delusions began. Young Goon feels like she's the only one who understands what her grandmother went through after learning about her condition, and she fantasizes about tracking down the men in white who took her. These images arise so regularly that the physicians and orderlies at the hospital begin to believe she is nuts. When young Goon joins the mental facility, she meets the eccentric patients, who are a colorful lot, including a mythomaniac woman who makes up stories to make up for her lack of memories, a man who is so polite he can't turn his back on anyone, a girl who dreams of only joining a yodeling choir, and an antisocial young man who is afraid of disappearing into a dot and has the extraordinary ability to steal other people's skills and qualities named Park Il-soon. Young Goon, on the other hand, did not appear to be interested in any of them, preferring to spend her time speaking with various hospital machines, still assuming that she is one of them, a cyborg. Young Goon fantasizes about Il-soon, a young male patient admitted to the hospital for antisocial behavior and kleptomania, both of which are signs of schizophrenia, throughout her stay at the hospital. Il-soon is described as having little sympathy and believing that he has the ability to steal other people's souls and qualities, as well as wearing handcrafted rabbit masks on a regular basis. And he brushes his teeth incessantly when he's frightened or angry because he believes he'll shrink into a dot if he doesn't. His practice of secretly taking the traits of his other patients has gotten him a lot of criticism, but he only does it voluntarily and returns the traits to their owners once he's finished with them. A tale unfolds as Park Il strives to overcome his antisocial habits by supporting other patients with their problems and enjoying their traits. He takes one patient's apologetic attitude and another's singing voice, and the sympathy of a young Goon, which is a sin for a cyborg. When young Goon gets free of her sympathetic impulses, she starts the process of killing the Whitens who kidnapped her grandmother. The Whitens turn out to be doctors and nurses from the hospital. When young Goon convinces Il-soon to give up her sympathies, she has a nightmare about going on a rampage and slaying the hospital's staff. She feels she has been recharged after having shock therapy as a result of her unwillingness to eat, despite the fact that she believes her reluctance to eat is due to a low battery. Her anorexia, according to doctors, is the cause of her frail physique. Young Goon refuses to eat human food, preferring to refuel by licking batteries instead. The doctors resort to extreme methods to force her to eat. Il-soon, now filled with pity for the young Goon, he devises a sophisticated plot to get her to eat by convincing her that he can implant a rice megatron, a food-to-electrical energy conversion device, in her back. Of course, she believes it immediately and starts to feel better. She resumes eating, much to the pleasure of the doctors and medical personnel, but she remains uneasy. Young Goon continues running into her grandmother in her nightmares, who wants to tell her what the meaning of her being here is. A young Goon ponders over the significance of a reoccurring dream in which her grandmother reveals the reason for her existence. With the help of Il-soon, she deciphers the enigmatic message, which indicates that she is destined to destroy humanity by destroying herself and taking everyone else with her. Young Goon and Il-soon rapidly discover that the only way for her to detonate herself is by high-voltage shock. She decides to go into a horrible storm with Il-soon in the hopes that her radio's antenna has a lightning rod interpreting the lip-reading message as she is a nuke bomb. Young Goon, on the other hand, will require 1,000,000,000 volts to achieve her aim of detonation. The two of them come up with the best approach to accomplish this using lightning. They decide to have a picnic under a tent in the middle of a thunderstorm, waiting for the perfect moment for Young Goon to detonate, erasing humanity, or so she thought. An intravenous stand with wheels is attached to the antenna that sits on top of Young Goon, but little did she know, Il-soon had quickly secured a wine bottle cork to the antenna's top to prevent any actual electrocution or damage. Similar to the rice Megatron that forced her to eat, Il-soon did the same to protect her without discouraging her and allowing her to act out her delusions. With the storm raging and the wind carrying their tent away, the story draws to a close with them scrambling to secure their food supply. Young Goon notices the wine bottle is open and collecting rain at this point. Hearing her mutter, Il-soon quickly covers the hole with his thin finger, relieved that he had saved Young Goon from any actual harm. As the credits roll, we see the two of them making love on the tarp while looking over the horizon at a rainbow. I'm a Cyborg, But That's Okay is a dark, strange romantic comedy disguised as a beautiful film about people's ability to be good to one another despite their own personal conflicts. It shows that everyone has someone to love, and that love can be the most effective treatment or, at the very least, a starting point for recovery. This film has a magical quality to it, and not just because it applies magical realism, it's also hilarious and incredibly unique. It has a strange storyline and some gruesome moments throughout. What would you do if you were Il-soon? Would you assist Young Goon in her quest despite the fact that you know she's insane? Or would you try to strike up a conversation and talk some sense into Young Soon? Please do let us know in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.